And you just have to hope that there's a flight available on the days you want to do. Don't leave right after the wedding. Of course, this doesn't apply if you're getting married in your honeymoon destination. But after the wedding, you're on a massive high. So the next day is a massive low. It's such a come down. So take time to gently come back down to earth. It's a massive shock because you've been centre of attention for weeks, maybe months. Then all of a sudden, right, you're yesterday's news. You're no longer centre of attention. It's all over. It's finished. Take a few days out and then travel on your honeymoon to ramp it all up again. Do remember your sense of humour. Relax and let things go. Don't let the beginning of married life be marred by a few mishaps. Complain if you need to. I'm not saying you shouldn't complain if something goes wrong, but don't go over the top. And don't book a twin-bedded room. You need a double. You're married now. Pack ahead of time. Use a checklist. There's plenty on the internet, or you can go to johnguinn.me and you can see there's a packing checklist on the website. Make sure you have everything you need for your honeymoon packed before your wedding day. Tell everybody you're on honeymoon. You're not going to be the only one telling everybody you're on a honeymoon, but you may win out of it. The chances are, if you get an upgrade on the flight, are quite slim. If you want to go first class on your honeymoon, you're going to have to pay for first class. There could be dozens of people who just got married and going on a honeymoon, all going up to the flight attendant saying, I'm on a honeymoon, can you upgrade me? But when you get to the hotel, you might get a free upgrade to a better room. You might get a free upgrade to a better cabin if you're on a cruise. Restaurants might throw something in. So do tell people, but don't go over the top and don't expect anything because you're probably not going to be the only ones there. If you're not too sure what to do, there are websites out there. There's honeymoons.com and honeymoontravel.net /destinations.html. These are American websites, so they're so much better at all the presentation about what you can do when you're on a honeymoon. You might not like the way the Americans do stuff, but when it comes to things like honeymoons, they do present great information and give you some great ideas. So, travel stress tips. A lot of people don't take holidays or short breaks often enough. In fact, I've come across people who never get away. Many that do manage to get away are now taking their work away with them, and I was guilty of it myself when I had my travel business. Even when I do my travel, I'm interviewing people when I'm abroad, so ignore what I do, just listen to what I'm saying. So it means you don't get a break enough, and you're still in the work mindset, so you're not really getting away from it. And taking a good amount of time away from the stresses of day life gives you the break you need to recharge your life and be better equipped to handle whatever your boss, colleagues or customers will give you when you get back. You can't take it all the time. You need to get away, switch off. There are super exclusive resorts that offer the perfect stress release break, but they do charge a problem. So how do you get a stress-free holiday when working to a budget? Here are my top tips. Use somebody to do all the planning for you, a travel agent, travel researcher, a virtual personal assistant. And tell them what you want, let them go find it. Luggage can cause your stress levels to rise if you manhandle it to the check-in desk and then wait in the luggage carousel for it, hopefully, to come back to you at the other end. There are companies that you can use to send your luggage away so it's waiting for you at your hotel, and then they'll send it back so it's waiting for you when you get back home, or be back a couple of days after you get home. You don't have to carry it around with you. Use a chauffeur to take you from your home to your airport. I had a customer saying they wanted to stay near St Pancras Station to go to Disney World, Disneyland Paris, and the prices were coming up, and I said, basically, for less, you can get a chauffeur to pick you up from your home and drive you there in comfort in the morning. It's a lot less stressful, and that's what they did. Or you could use the meet and greet parking service. Then you don't have to worry about parking your car at the airport and finding it again. And then there's always the airport lounge to get away from most of the other travellers and their noise. And some lounges are kid-free as well, so you can really relax in air-conditioned comfort. There are a few days in the year when you should not travel. As I already mentioned, the first few days of any school holiday are chaotic. Don't fly then. Try to fly in outside school holidays if you can. If you can't, then stick to the middle range of dates. But don't forget to check school holiday dates for the countries you're going to, or other countries, major countries that send people to that where you're going for holidays. There's no point in avoiding UK school children if you end up surrounded by kids from another country. And then spring break in America means thousands of excited and very drunk American teenagers, early 20s, in resorts in Mexico and other Caribbean destinations. If you go in spring break, sleep is not an option. Keep away from the main resorts and head out to the small villages. Here the pace of life will be slower and there's less chance of staying near an all-night disco. I mentioned I flew out on the first day of school holiday. I went somewhere remote. It was a small village. It was so peaceful. It was really nice. I had trouble because I couldn't speak Spanish, but there was no loud, drunk British people screaming around all night. It was just nice and quiet and relaxing. If you're worried about foreign food, well, stay at home. But then also you could contact nearby restaurants a few weeks before you go and explain they have a special diet and see if they can cater for it. Most restaurants will cater for you if they're given enough notice. I'm a vegan and I've had so much better food when I've travelled than when I was... Well, I've only ever travelled as a vegetarian or a vegan. But when I was a vegetarian, I didn't plan ahead. I just used to show up and hope for the best. But contacting everywhere I'm eating beforehand has made some real special, outstanding meals. And if you've got a kid who's a fussy eater, then you can make sure they have the Heinz ketchup or whatever they need to make sure they eat their food. If you can't get away for long, then a weekend break can work wonders if you leave your laptop and phone behind. So just head off to somewhere in the UK if you really can't get away, which is where I am at the minute with my dog. He's 13 soon and I'm getting worried about leaving him. I've just done 2 nights away and that was stressful enough. I don't think I could do a week to 10 days anymore. If you do have to take your work phone with you, then use an answering service to screen your calls. They can then leave a message at the hotel or send you a text or email so they can call you. You can call whoever you need to call when you're ready. And you won't get calls in the middle of the night if you're a few time zones away. The amount of times I had phone calls at 4 a.m, which was 9 o'clock at home. If I used an answering service, I would have woken up to a text or an email and then I could have rung back on my leisure. And finally, this is the most important tip for a stress-free holiday. Just make sure you get away. You can follow me on Twitter @holiday_hut. One way of making sure you do have a very stressful holiday is to fall for a travel scam. And if you follow my tips about being stress-free, then you will be more relaxed than you are usually, and you may be more trusting than you would be back home. So to ensure that you don't have a trip ruined by falling foul of the common schemes, these are the ones you should be watching out for. Always ask for ID from somebody if they say they're an official. When you're approached by anybody saying their passport, police, whatever it is, ask us the ID. Hide your luggage labels. When you're at your departing airport, you don't want anybody walking around to know your home address and when you'll be back. When I was a travel agent, I told my clients to use my business address for their home address. And the address was marked, the label was marked care of. So if the luggage did get lost and needed to be delivered somewhere when it's found, it would come to my business. Then the client's address remains private. Can your travel company offer this? Perhaps if they don't, you could use your work address. Always ensure that your contact details are also inside your case, as external labels may be easily lost. Then, of course, you may have given your details away to somebody who's broken into your case. So do make a choice about what sort of stuff you want to share. Never, ever, never, ever accept anything from a stranger, such as drinks in glasses or open bottles. Don't carry anything back home to post for people unless you can open the package or letter. And never accept an offer to share a cab. Watch out for distractions. Distraction robberies come in many forms. You can even provide a distraction yourself just by being unaware of the surroundings. Always keep your eye on your belongings, even at airports. This takes me back a few years ago when the APTA travel convention was in Spain. There was a spate at the airport of people losing their cases, and people who should have known better, travel agents, lost their cases because they were looking around the airport and then looked down for the case and it was gone. So if you check the Foreign and Commonwealth Office website, which will be posted at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show, you can see what the latest distraction problems there are at your destination, if there are any. If anything unusual happens around you, such as a fight or somebody cleaning something off your clothes, stick your hands in your pockets after you've secured any bags and get away as quickly as possible. And hire cars, I've already covered it. Always check hire cars thoroughly before booking them on the forecourt. If the price is too good to be true, check the companies on review websites to see if anybody's actually used them. Do check the language used in the review to make sure it is somebody who's from the country they're saying they're going to be. I mean, you quite easily see sometimes if somebody says they're from Manchester or whatever, you can tell by the way they're typing that they're not from these shores. You may feel like filling the car up when you go away at the airport and topping it up before you return. However, it's easier if you the hire car company try and scam you to show a receipt for a full tank than trying to show a receipt for a few drops. Another travel scam you should watch out for is airports for taxis. In Rome, there were people coming up to people in departures saying, "I'm a taxi," and showing them a laminated card with prices. These weren't taxi drivers, they were locals putting it on. You're perfectly safe, but you may pay a little bit extra than you should do, and the chances are you won't actually be dropped off outside the hotel because they're not proper taxi drivers. They don't want anybody to catch them, so they might drop you off around the corner, and then you have to walk the final few yards. I mentioned this at a business networking event, and somebody said, yeah, they got me. So always get a taxi from the taxi rank. Always get a taxi that has proper taxi signs. If you're travelling, you need a taxi from your hotel, get the hotel to supply the taxi. Then get the taxi driver's business card and then say they can take you back. If you are getting a taxi, let the hotel know the name of the taxi driver you're with and where you're going as well, just in case. You can never be too careful. If there's any particular travel scam that you've fallen foul of, which doesn't mean the taxi one, please do share at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Your misfortune can help others make sure they don't suffer the same fate. We've reached the end of this week's show. My voice kept going. Luckily, I had to edit out one or two coughing fits during the show, so if I miss one out and you suddenly get a cough in your ear roll, I do apologise. I did do my best to make sure none of them got through. I'm pretty sure none did, but if one did, please let me know. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Just say you missed one. I've gone through some tips and scams. If there's anything I didn't cover and a tip you really value and it makes your life so much easier, please do share it at the Facebook page. And again, as I mentioned earlier with the scams, if there's one you've fallen foul to, or one that a friend has fallen foul to, then please do share it. Because if more people are aware of what's going on, then less chance of these scams are going to work. I do hope you can join me next time on the Travel Show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com, where each week I check out before you check in.